guest who has clearly had a lot of experience in his career and more, I think. How do you think that went, Chris Hooley?
Yeah, to speak to the creator of Comedy Central, such a big fan of the show and hearing, well, not the show, obviously it's not a show, but the channel in itself. And I thank him, my teenage years, thank him for all the hard work that he put in early doors. Yeah, it was weird, obviously, speaking to him because I was thinking about all the shows I used to watch as a kid, as a teen, and knowing that those types of shows wouldn't have been possible without the effort that he put in. So yeah, it was weird. It was his accent intimidated me. I didn't know he was a New Yorker. It sounded like I was we were having a conversation with a mob boss at times. Just in my mind, I was like, yeah, he just sounded exactly as I expected a mob boss to sound. So kind of put me on edge a little bit.
I mean, he was a great guest, and what I love about what type of guest he was is kind of the experience that he's had, and the tenacity of him. The fact that he got rejected so many times with Comedy Central, and he was like, "Nope, this is gonna happen. I'm gonna make this happen," and he just pursued it until it actually did happen. So yeah, you got to give him credit for that.
Yeah, and obviously all the sort of name drops that were in there as well were great. And, I wrote down a few names that I was like, I'm definitely going to research this person and look at who they were in the Comedy Central setup in the world. But yeah, it was really exciting to see him and to hear him talk about that process and, get a few tips on writing comedy. I didn't probe him too much in that field. I just asked about editing towards the end. But yeah, I still feel like comedy is that elusive thing that's really difficult to crack. And obviously, you can watch the interview on YouTube and stuff like that in a few weeks' time. But I think the main thing that I kind of took from it was the observation and just, watching people jotting the ideas down and sort of, going at comedy that way. But yeah, it's tricky.
We talked about creating our own skit. Not skit. What's the thing called? He was talking about it. Sitcom. Yeah, we want to create our own sitcom. We still do. Where we have a bunch of authors in a therapy room for writers, and I think it'd be a great show. But starting to write comedy is more tricky than you can imagine. So yes, the more people we get on the show like that who can kind of give us that information is great for us and people who want to write comedy.
Yeah, and I feel like you did try and hit the nail on the head a little bit when you said with comedy, it's not necessarily, you use that show don't tell phrase, and it's dialogue seems to be the key that keeps cropping up. I'm going to watch. Is it Brett Goldstein? Is that his name? Yeah, he's just done a stand-up, and obviously, I love his shows. I love
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso, and it was the other one I was thinking of actually. Ted Lasso and
now you got me thinking.
Shrinking,
yes.
Yeah, it's called Shrinking. So I love those shows, and I think there's some brilliant moments that make you laugh. But I really want to see. I think tonight I'm going to watch the stand-up and see if he's got that same sort of like. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be disappointed or if it's going to be a great stand-up, but he came from the sort of stand-up background, wrote sitcoms. So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching that and seeing what that's like.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Brett Goldstein, by the way. Oh my God. I've got a friend who is a director of movies, local friend who has started getting into directing movies, and he's done a few now, and he's linked up with some amazing famous people to do in his movies. And one of the photos he posted a few weeks back was with him and Brett Goldstein. And I was like, oh my God, mind blown. Do you know Brett Goldstein? He was like, yeah, we did, whatever. And I was like, you must ask him to come on the show. And the annoying thing with that is that I've prompted that conversation a few times. He's like, oh, I'll get onto him. I'll text him for you. And nothing's come back. I'm like, I love Brett Goldstein. So yeah. I really hope that comes through because I'd love to chat to Brett Goldstein massively.
Well, maybe we'll. I'll watch his stand up tonight, and we'll do a little review on it, and we'll do just like we did. And I keep doing this every time we go live. But we're gonna do it again, just like we did with Bob Mortimer. Bring it in. We'll do the same with Brett Goldstein, and we'll try and get him on because obviously he's a brilliant writer. We both love the shows that he's involved in, and yeah, like it was really. Do you know what tonight's show with Art Bell? Obviously, he was instrumental to creating and shaping the face of comedy with Comedy Central and how we know it. But what I also found really interesting was when he talked about moving on over to Courthouse TV.
Yeah.
And how he was a big advocate for like pushing documentaries and crime documentaries. And I was like, you're the reason I have to sit through so many true crime documentaries because it's like the go-to sort of thing that my missus will put on. She'll be like, go to crime documentary. Oh, there's a new one. And I'm like, if I see another true crime documentary, like I will lose my mind. And Art Bell was to blame for that.
But we know, like in on TV, Netflix, everything, true crime is huge. And the podcast world, true crime is enormous. If our podcast had done the amount of interviews and spent the time and effort we've done into crime fiction, we'd be massive. It's huge, and people love true crime. So if he is one of the key people in starting that process, then you got to applaud the man.
Yeah, I mean, and he did say obviously the big thing for him with moving to Courthouse TV and looking at true crime documentaries were that the people were really good at storytelling.
Yeah.
And they are, to be fair, whenever you watch a true crime documentary, the storytelling does shine through, and it always starts with that sort of like why or what happened, and you know you're always wanting to stick to the end normally. I'm not a massive fan of them, but people in the chat, if you watch true crime documentaries, let us know which ones we should be watching, which ones we're missing out on, which ones we should see. And obviously, in honor of tonight's guest, Art Bell, creator of Comedy Central, tell us what your favorite Comedy Central show was. Whether it could be a present one or it could be one from your teenage years. That would be good. Get a few of them in there that we can reminisce about.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe in the chat, let us know what your favorite comedy shows are, perhaps sitcoms or stand-up comedians. One thing I really wanted to say to him when he said about comedy not being so storytelling based with like arcs and stuff, I really wanted to bring up one of my most favorite comedians, Billy Connolly, who is notoriously known for telling all his comedy in the form of story. So I was like, I wanted to say that, but I didn't want to kind of disturb the conversation there.
Yeah, comedians are tricky. Like, obviously, everyone's got their favorites. Billy Connolly is brilliant. Obviously, my roots are more Manchester based. I wouldn't say Jason Manford is a favorite, but I do like him. But yeah, I think the art of storytelling and comedy, they do tend to have that sort of overlapping thing. And you know yourself, whenever you're having a good conversation that makes somebody laugh, it's normally, oh, this thing happened to me, and you'll never guess what happened to this person or whatever. And it's normally that sort of anecdotal sort of storytelling that gets people going and gets people laughing. It's very rarely a bad dad joke that we had the other day.
Yeah, we had a few of them on the show quite recently. Sarah was good at sending them in. We just did have a request for a live person to join us on TikTok. However, we have no idea how that would work on this because we're doing it through StreamYard, and Chris probably wouldn't be able to see the person. But I'm tempted to say yes for a very short time. So if you want to join us. Huh?
Who was the person?
It was someone with a Manchester United badge. So I thought, yeah, Chris would love that.
I don't know about that, to be honest.
Yeah, so if you're on TikTok and want to join us, just for us to try it out, send us the thing and I'll say yes. If it's weird, I'll just disconnect you if I can figure out how to do that. But there you go. Why not? But yes, I think great interview and a great person to start season 16 off. And he was quite right. He said that we've built something amazing and we should appreciate the wins. And, you know, having done this show for 5 years, over 360 interviews, we're saying that now. You know, it is something we should be more proud of. We are proud of it, but more aware of how you know, what we have done. So yes, I think it's time we started sitting there and thinking we've done a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, we're not quite Comedy Central level of success at this moment in time, but you know, it's definitely worth celebrating. And like Art has proven tonight, when he's written his first thriller, gone into that sort of space, you know, despite the fact he's been incredibly successful in his entertainment sort of Hollywood world. Hollywood. Yeah, I mean, maybe retirement is like Hollywood now for him. But even though he's been incredibly successful there, and probably could get loads of jobs in entertainment if he wanted to, obviously he's taken that plunge, gone back to his sort of love of writing, and then written a book. And yeah, he's venturing on that journey. And his memoir sounded great as well.
Yeah. But to be honest, I was quite interested that he said he'd written in different genres and some of them are sat in a cupboard somewhere. And he's landed on, at this noir thriller. So that was clearly the love that he had when he was younger. So it's really interesting to see that's the one he's gone with. And, you know, what's he going to do with the others that are sat in his drawer? I wonder how many authors are watching this who, like myself, if I've done it, then everyone else has, have stories that they really like the idea of, but never actually have got to the point of writing that story.
Well, I think it's really interesting as well, and a lot of writers talk about doing this. Whenever they're going to move into a genre, they read a lot in that genre of things that they used to like.
Yeah.
And I found myself doing it recently. I'm trying to write I suppose it is a comedy, so I'm reading a lot more comedy-based books. So like I'm going back to Douglas Adams and reading them. I'm reading Bob Mortimer. I'm reading like Cammy McGowan. All these types of things. Cammy McGowan, C.K. McDonald. Why do we say Cammy? His name's Queef. But yeah, Queef McDonald. And yeah, just reading those sorts of comedy books. So I suppose it's like what Art was saying tonight. If you want to write a good sitcom, sit down and watch a load of good sitcoms. If you want to write, a thriller, go and read a load of thrillers. And I think, yeah, that's a really good bit of advice that you kind of, when you're doing that, you feel like, oh, am I just going to sort of take some of the ideas that they're using? Is my voice going to cross over with theirs? And I don't think it's that. I think it's staying in a space where you're seeing how it's working, how it's constructed, and you sort of subconsciously taking that in and going, oh yeah, I could drop this in there, or that could happen. So yeah, I think again, a good bit of advice from Art tonight.
Well, do you know what? I think perfect guest for season 16 starting. He was very charismatic. He's got a lot of experience. He kind of gave us the vibe of there's only going to be a few people watching. We're like, yeah. We do the shows live on Substack to paid members, and that is to support our business. We're contemplating very much so changing that at the moment, and we'll talk about that in a sec. But he was like, what do you mean if there's only a few watching? And we're like, oh, shit. Kind of felt a bit weird about that, but it went fine. So we did explain that'll be out in a few weeks for everybody else that is not currently a Substack member. So yeah, it's a bit interesting. That was.
No, it is, and it's one of those tricky things of like navigating. Obviously, podcasts after a certain time, some of them do go to the subscriber sort of format, which we have done. But again, it's that choice of going, do you build and then, like, obviously we've done it in a different way because we've got the Substack and then we release the shows to everybody else anyway. So everyone can watch it at some point. It's just that element of going, do I watch it live right now and ask some questions, or do I watch it in a couple of weeks' time?
Yeah.
Which obviously is part of what we wanted to do anyway, in terms of building the writing community and giving people advice. So people do have access to that advice anyway. But yeah, I think getting more people involved on a regular basis would be better, but it's how to do that sort of constructively, because one of the dangers you've got when you're doing it live is people can just comment, and that's great all the time. But then if you get somebody on, like we had obviously Art Bell on tonight, and if you get somebody coming in and just saying something horrific to him or whatever, or just putting in the chat like his name is Bell, so probably a few ways you can throw a couple of slurs in there. But again, then that sort of taints the thing of what we're trying to do, and not everyone. I'm sure Art Bell would be quite comfortable with tackling comments like that, and he'd probably be.
I'm sure he's heard that before.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is he'd probably turn it into quite a humorous thing, whereas some of the authors that we have on the show, maybe not so much. So it's trying to navigate that side of things as well.
It's like having that show with Samantha Shannon that we had many years ago when Mr. Floppy came into the comments.
Yeah. No one likes Mr. Floppy coming into the comments.
No, he was quickly removed from the comments. But, after 360 odd shows, one Mr. Floppy is not too terrible.
That is true. But yeah, he was a good guest for starting season 16. It's crazy that we say that. We should just, I don't know. Does 1.6 sound better? No, it probably doesn't, does it? But season 16.
1.6 what? 1.6 seasons?
Yeah, I don't know. But like I said, to me, it's just one continuous sort of effort to try
it is. Literally what I said this week was the reason that I've broken it into seasons is simply that we can organize it a bit more effectively, and then it's manageable.
Yeah, that's true. But maybe we could do it by like genre, even though it's a lot of work. And then, yeah,
Noel's back. Hello, Noel. Yes, it is broken into genre. If you go onto YouTube, you can select the playlist that is crime fiction authors, and you can watch all the crime fiction authors that we've had on the show, and all the other genres. So it is listed in playlists on YouTube, but generally, it's a mess.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm interested to see because we've had a few where they're very niche. So like. I could imagine the historical fiction genre playlist is quite small compared to the crime fiction genre playlist, probably huge.
It is. We've had a lot of crime writers on, so that playlist is particularly large. So yeah, that's probably the biggest one we've got. I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Sci-fi, we had Gareth Powell. I can't think of many more sci-fi authors that we've had on, to be honest.
Oh yeah. Where's my phone? Let me try and research this as we're on the show.
So some of my favorite guests that we've had on, but again, they fall into the crime genre. John Mars, he was great, and his books are great. And I know he's on the sort of TikTok platforms and things like that, and he's. I think we found him through X or Twitter and spoke to him through there. But having interviewed him and then gone away and read a few more of his books, I've just sort of got a newfound appreciation. Obviously, I liked him beforehand, but I read 2 books since interviewing him, and he's brilliant. So he's been one of the favorite ones that we've had on. And sci-fi authors, we've not had that many.
So we got one in the music author interview section. Do you know who that might be? It's not just in that one. He's in other ones too. And it's a he, so I just gave that away.
Yeah, you did, because I was going to say that initially that was a female. No, I have no idea.
Noelle says she and Sharon loved being on the show, but then she said, I hadn't realized you have SFF as working for Second Sky. I have so many I will now forward.
Nice.
Kind of confused with that. So do you want to guess who the author and the music is?
I have no idea.
That is Mark Billingham. No, I'll take it all away. I'll take it all away. That is, you must know, because we did a music quiz with him on the show.
We did a music quiz with him?
Quite a few years ago.
Yeah, I vaguely remember doing that, but I can't remember the person who it was.
Okay, that was John Niven.
Oh, why? Oh, he's under music. Because of his. Oh, that's because of his novel. Yeah.
No, he used to be a music producer or something, didn't he?
Yeah, but his novel. Oh, which one is it? Oh, how to. Oh, why has it gone out of my head?
I don't know.
Oh, I don't want to get it wrong.
Oh, we have
Oh,
two
I
in
can't
there.
remember. Yeah, but anyway, that novel is about a music producer who kills all of his friends.
Yeah.
In the music industry, but it's based on his background in the music industry.
We actually
But
have a
yeah,
second one in the music playlist. Is a female, and I can give you the book title, see if you can guess the author. See how good your memory is. The 27 Club.
Yeah, I knew this. I can see this person's face.
Yeah.
Do
you want the first initial?
I don't think it's going to help me, to be honest, because I can't remember the name.
L U
Laura
C Y.
Lucy.
Yes. Like American Money.
Dollar.
Lucy Dollar. No.
Okay.
The smaller version of money.
Then.
No.
Dime.
No. We have a new follower. Thank you. No, it's Lucy Nickel.
Oh.
Dear me. Okay.
I do remember that interview, and I do remember her face, but I could not remember her name for the life of me. But to be fair, with 360 shows, that's not bad. And I was able to guess.
The comedy.
We were looking for playlists. Yeah, different playlists. But I think what was more impressive was yesterday I was able to recognize the authors that we'd had on based on the writing. And that was, to be able to do that was more impressive than remembering someone's name.
Noel said Cash. Lucy Cash. That's not a very American name. This is actually terrible because my playlists I've created are pretty rubbish. I'm sorry. For anyone that goes on YouTube and tries to search these interviews, we don't actually have a comedy playlist, and I'm sure we did.
Mm.
Do you know? Let's have a look. Non-fiction author interviews. Have a guess how many we have under that bracket.
Non-fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Out of 360 shows, I'm going to say we've got about 7.
All right. It's a loose bracket, but we've got 27.
Ah, right.
Wow. Horror author interviews. How many?
5.
No, 26. So,
okay.
Are you okay?
I'm just going to leave you there a minute, mate. I'll let you carry on that game.
All right. Okay, people then watching, we have how many people, based on the fact that we already said we have a lot more, hello, it's just me, a lot more people on the crime fiction playlist. How many do you think are on the crime fiction playlist of our podcast on YouTube? So, non-fiction was 27, horror authors 26. How many do you think are in crime fiction that we do more interviews of? And in the meantime, I will chat and see if any comments come in about the fact that we are going to move. I think I'm just going to say it right now. Chris is not here to disagree with me. So we're going to move the show back from Substack paid members to taking the show back to just being live everywhere, kind of like this with the interview. So I think that's a good move. It will give us more ability to get you guys in watching live. And I think that's a good step that we will do. Noel says 250, 150, all the 50s. Not correct. Too high. So too high. We have actually 82 people on the interview of crime fiction, which tends to be our more popular. Our very first interview on there has got nearly 3,000 views. Master of Fiction, Sir Ian Ranking. What a legend he is. He still promised that he'll buy me a beer up in the little pub he goes to in Scotland when I get up there one day in Edinburgh. Haven't managed to do that yet, so that's on my list. We have Charles Ardai, who is the what does he do? He's something hard case crime. I think he might be one of the I don't know founders, but he does great stuff with case crime. Absinthe King says, "What's your favorite interview?" My favorite interview, hands down, is Max Brooks. I got to interview Max Brooks on my birthday a couple of years ago, who was he's the author of World War Z or Z, which is a true inspiration for my writing, especially my horror sort of genres. And he has an incredible backstory. His mother was Anne Bancroft, who was an Oscar-winning actress back in the day, and his father was Mel Brooks, the Mel Brooks who wrote Blazing Saddles. And not only was that upbringing kind of crazy that he discusses in the interview, he actually works for some crazy things around his writing now as well. And I think that is very, very, very much my favorite interview and worth listening to, because he is a crazy, crazy good author. Other people on the crime fiction list, we've got James Kestrel, we've got John Niven, M.W. Craven, Alice Hunter, Ruth Kelly, Ian Moore, J.D. Kirk, who, by the way, if you don't know, thank you for that, Noel. If you don't know, we released a video today saying on our YouTube channel and our Substack that you can now enter the Amazon KDP Kindle Storyteller Award and win £20,000. Now, we have been sponsored by Amazon KDP, which is a huge sponsorship for us, and you can do that by entering. So watch the video on our YouTube channel to know how, or go to our Substack for the free post that explains it all and showcases photos of JD and everything. Noel says, I work with JD Kirk. He's a lovely guy. We've interviewed him at least twice, and he won last year's award, and he will be on the judging panel for this year. So please do consider that. If you've got a manuscript that is written, it's in English, and unpublished, you can enter on Amazon KDP. It doesn't have to be a full manuscript either. So go and check out that video on YouTube. You'll see it. It's got a pretty cover and says win £20,000. And the Substack post is out there as well. So find us on Substack. It's a free post. It's got a big description about what's going on, how to enter, and all that good stuff. Noel says he's awesome and incredibly prolific. Yeah, we discussed how his career is fantastic on the show, and winning the Storyteller Award has only boosted his career, which he stated. So it's possible, people, that you could upload your manuscript there, win £20,000, but also get the publicity and the backing from Amazon KDP once that happens. And as an indie author, I can clearly understand how important and valuable that kind of win it would be. So definitely look at entering that. If you have a manuscript kicking around and you want to revamp it, you've got till the end of August to get that in. And it's very easy. It doesn't cost you a thing for a chance to win £20,000. You might even get shortlisted, longlisted. Any of that will give you exposure. So please do so. And if you need help or advice, then that's what we're here for. And we'll be rooting for anybody that follows the show to win that, because we love our writing community and we want to help people in that community do well. So if we can get someone a bit of assistance and they win that competition, then we'll talk about that very proudly. So definitely consider that. Other people on the list of crime fiction authors we've got in that playlist, we've got Joy Ellis. She was great. Mark Billingham, who again we're going to interview once again at Harrogate Crime Writers Festival in 3 weeks. Looking forward to that. Matt Welazowski, who's a great author, but I constantly get his name wrong. John Kennedy, John Mars. We love John Mars. The Johns, him and his partner, both John. Interviewed him a few times, and at Harrogate, I've actually got, let me show it to you, kind of exclusive stuff I've stolen here. So, when I was at Harrogate last year, I think, doing interviews for Pan Macmillan, oh my God, there's so much dust on this. I interviewed John Mars, and yay, Noel's going to be in Harrogate. We'll see you there. John Mars was a great interview, and he's a great, funny person. And basically, you know, when you meet someone that you just have a bit of a cheeky bit of banter with and you instantly get on, that was me and John. So we had an interview. I nicked one of these signs from Pan Macmillan and I got him to sign it. So, here you see it. John Mars at Harrogate. And he's written and drawn a silly face on himself. Can you see that? Not quite. He says, to Chris, I can't even read the rest of that right now. To Chris, thanks for making it easy for me. Best wishes, John Mars. Yeah, so as Absinthe or Jamie says in the comments, liberated. I liberated this from Pan Macmillan and I got him to draw on it. So the reason for that is that one day I might have myself a studio. Oh my God, the dust that's off the top of my cupboard. For those that don't know, my studio is not a studio. It is the back. This is the back of my bedroom. I've got a terrible desk. I'm choking here. And I mean, I've been desperate to get a proper studio set up one day, and it's not near happening. I've got so envious of people with perfect desk setups on YouTube and things like that. But one day I get that. I've got signs like this. I've got loads of gifts given to me. I've got bookmarks. I've got great stuff. I will decorate a bar cum studio and fill it with great stuff I've collected. He says, why don't you start a GoFundMe for the studio? Yes, we kind of did once, and our GoFundMes have been terrible. They haven't really done anything. So, but that's the thing. Sarah says she can't wait. I'm guessing for the studio because it means like get out of the bedroom because she wants to get in it to sleep. But yeah, it's great. So John Mars was a great author, and we will be speaking to him again. Who else we got in crime fiction? We've got Sam Holland, Sarah Hillary, Kate Foster, Nadine Matheson. She's fantastic. We met her as well. Tina Baker. She's a wonderful woman who was on. What was she on? Good Morning Britain or something like that. She's written Call Me Mummy, books like that, and we interviewed her a few times and we had a great conversation. And when she met us at Harrogate, the first thing that I felt before I saw her was someone jump onto my back and almost wrestle me to the ground. And I thought I was getting attacked, and it turned out to be Tina Baker. She literally jumped on top of me. So yes, that was fun. Noel says, Tina is hilarious. Great, dark, twisty reads. Indeed she is. She is an absolute character. And if you don't know Tina Baker, follow her on social media and you will know exactly what she's like. She does book marketing like no other. Absolute craziness. Sarah says, Tina is awesome. She is awesome. Who else? Sam Holland interviewed her at Pan Macmillan. Will Carver, who we talked about and released a video yesterday saying about how great he is and potentially he is the next big author to blow up. He released a book yesterday and we released that video just in time to support that. He is a fantastic author. He's definitely someone we meet at Harrogate quite often and have a few cheeky beers with. That's safe to say. He is potentially my party animal. Is that fair to say? You know, like a spirit animal, but a party version. Stephen J. Golds, he was pretty impressive to interview. He lives in Japan. Not sure why that's relevant. Just thought it was. Natalie Simmons. D.V. Bishop, interviewed him at Harrogate. Vicky Newman. There's loads on there. So, yeah, I think crime fiction, thanks to Chris Hooley, is one of the most... Stephen's a legend. Adore him. Yeah, we do. Crime fiction is one of the biggest interviews we've done. Actually, Chris, was he on about science fiction authors? Because we have got quite a few. Samantha Shannon, Catriona Award. Oh my God, I've lost it. Catriona Award. That was simple in the end. The End of Men, Christina Sweeney-Bird, Eve Chase, Sarah Pinborough, Ewan Morrison, Tim Leben. Tim Leben has actually read my book. I find that quite bizarre because not many people have, but he's great. But yes, so I don't know where Chris has gone, so I just randomly reading through a list of people that we've interviewed. Do you have any questions for me? Because that would be good. Let me just check this out. I can't get the questions up from the other streaming side because Chris is gone. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, I was eating pizza, and I didn't think we were one of those shows.
Oh, well, before we finish that mouthful, pineapple on pizza, yes or no? Get in the comments right now and settle this argument. Chris, are there any comments? Because I asked a few questions on your side.
Oh, I've not been looking at that. I've just been looking at you reading through all the things.
We've got a no from Noel. We've got a no from Absinthe King. We've got a yes
Linda
from Sarah.
says, "Hi, Anna." Or Anya, sorry. And she says, "How are you?" And I think that's not aimed at us. I think that was between those two.
Neither of us are cool.
I need to say that. But this one, I'm just going to put this on the bottom and might leave it there, to be honest. But no pineapple on pizza.
I think you're wrong. Yeah, cool.
Oh, I wish I had saved a slice of that pizza now that I could show you that there was absolutely no pineapple.
Were you watching the whole time?
Most of the time, yeah.
Did you see the board I stole?
I did see the board that you stole, and it gave me board envy because I was like, I love John Mars.
Yeah, well, we'll get more boards this year.
Yeah.
If he's eating pizza, what are you drinking? Is that like a riddle?
Pepsi Max.
Oh, Pepsi Max. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Obviously, I don't drink anymore. Sober life. So the max I get is quite literally a Pepsi Max and a few cans of that. It's either that or coffee or water, and those are the three beverages that are in my life now.
Noelle has been sending in roses. I love pig. I love piggy.
Love piggy. Wow.
She sent us a love piggy. This is TikTok, by the way. For those that are watching not on TikTok, she can send things in. And you can if you're on TikTok watching too. You see that little... you can't see it on the other platform, but we got 1,000 target. So you can send piggies in if you like to, and other things. But the important target is the other one for us. So we want to get to 1,000 subscribers. So if you're watching and you're enjoying this content, we have plenty more to come. Hit that follow button on TikTok. Please do so.
Do you know what I do?
Go on.
I'm trying to find if the other one is there. I want to settle a debate between me and you in terms of what the better intro to our show was.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to play these two videos and see what people think, because I have a firm favorite, and I think it's partly because obviously I don't drink anymore and it doesn't represent me, but I just like the sort of elements of it. I'm not going to say any more. I'm just going to play this video and then I'll play the one we've got now, and people who are watching can vote on which video they think is the better intro. So this is the first one. That's one of them. That was the version with my name taken out when I did a hiatus for a year. And then this is the one that we got now.
You're tuned into the Writing Community Chat Show, the live streaming YouTube podcast that brings you the stories of authors, screenwriters, and more. Indie or established, this show's for the community, and we invite you to be a part of it. Head to the writingcommunitychatshow.com for more info. The WCCS. Together as one, we get it done.
So, over to the guests and the people listening.
Absinthe King said the first one before even finished the second one. And Sarah says the second one is on brand, but I like the first one.
See, I like the punchiness of the first one. Of it's like.
Do you know why I hold the second one so dear to my heart?
Go on.
It's because it's narrated by someone pretty damn famous.
Yeah, And he's a good guy. Obviously, he does the Lego movie stuff, and he's done a lot of really cool stuff. But the first one's just a bit punchy. It's just like, vroom. It's that sound effect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of his second name right now because that's terrible. It's Jason.
So dear to your heart that you can't remember his name.
No, it's Jason Anthony. And if you don't know who that is, you will know him from many games like Call of Duty. He's the guy that tells you to be quiet in an Odeon cinema. And this is him. Oh, hang on.
Yeah, it's that voice that comes on and says, "Please relax."
You sound like the guy at the start of a film at the Odeon cinema. What, this guy? Hello, and a warm welcome to Odeon. I'm guessing you're here to lose yourself in the magic of the big screen, yeah? And not to be distracted by someone's phone screen. Am I right? Thought so. Okay, here's the deal. Switch off your phones, finish your conversations. Yeah, that does mean you two in the middle row. Yeah, okay, I see you. Sit back, clear your mind, and relax. It's time to free your imagination. First.
So, yes.
Do you know what happens directly after that little speech from the Odeon?
You sound
Go
like
on.
a guy.
There's a big whoop.
Yes.
Which is similar to our first trailer.
It is. So what we need is clearly Absinthe says the second one's slightly cheesy. First one gets your attention straight away. So I think there's a mix there. What we need to do is combine the two somehow, which means we need a new introduction.
We probably should have done that before the start of season 16, to be honest.
I'm a busy guy.
No, but I mean, we, like, as a collective, we should have voted, done this vote, and then gone, do you know what? We'll put something else together.
Quite true. So, with that in mind, as we were discussing earlier, quite exclusive information for everybody here. We're considering scrapping the paywall behind Substack and doing the live show on this platform and all the platforms you're watching on currently. Do we wrap it all up with a new intro and then do it?
Yeah, I think a little rebrand is called for
it's a big call. It's a big call.
Yeah, I mean,
dropping Jason Anthony.
Do you know what I think we need? I think we need a bit of a rebrand and a bit more sort of like those videos in between. So we used to have videos like this, and let me see if I can get one. That was a good one.
Yeah, they're all there. They're all there.
Yeah, I can see them all. So bear in mind, some of these are loud. So whenever we got a new family member, we used to play this video.
Yes.
So that was if a new person joined our writing community chat show, sort of like body. We used to play that video. And I think we need more of those videos.
What that was, we used to do a thing when we did the show live, and we'd stalk someone on Twitter. Do you remember this? We basically, if someone followed us on Twitter during the show, we would play that and then out them and then get everyone watching to send them a crazy GIF based on a suggestion. So they may never have watched the show. They just followed us on Twitter, and then suddenly their Twitter was blowing up with crazy GIFs. Which is the reason why certain rankings sent a one-of-a-kind Rebus beer mat to someone who may never have even seen or read his books or the show based on them.
But again, that was a really good feature that we lost during the show when we were being a bit more serious in terms of like interviewing, obviously, authors and things like that. But we did it with Ian Rankin, so like it's a staple of the show that we lost, like that we can bring back in a big way, especially if we're going live and we've got so many people watching and listening. We could potentially bring that and other little segments back into the show that are a bit more engaging for people in terms of like, you know, winning prizes, winning things, you know, just being involved in the writing community and having a shout out for that and things like that. So I think it could be a really good way forward.
Noel is spamming us with roses and piggies, and the reason there is not enough, there are no animations, is because I believe there's a 10 limit minimum to make the noise happen. That's not something we set as a thing. More animation from Linda, meaning
just like throughout the show. And
okay.
Anya says, I agree that both are good, but my favorite is the second one. So yeah, she agrees with you there, Chris, and likes that second one.
What other videos have we got there that we've kind of forgotten about?
We've got, I'm just trying to think of the shorter ones that we've got. You got the beer token, but that doesn't really.
Well, that's something we should definitely still be doing. And what the case of that was, we have a small fee, and this could counteract the need for the Substack paid membership. We used to be able to advertise your book on every single show. So what we would do is we'd create a trailer for your book, and then we'd play it on the show for a cost of, say, £10, and then you'd get your book played on the YouTube channel and all of the podcasts audio style. So there was a lot of exposure for like a £10, which is quite low. And in fact, Dale Roberts, who's the self-publishing master, he took that up because he said he couldn't believe how cheap it was. So that is something, if you'd be interested in, let us know. And that is something we could bring back this season.
Yeah, and obviously, like we've got Art Bell's book there, it was kind of like that. And obviously, for a lot of our videos and stuff, they accumulate views over time. And then, you know, some of our more popular shows, you know, 10,000 plus people have watched on YouTube. If we're on various different platforms, it's 10,000 people that are potentially seeing that book. Another little video that we have, which I do vaguely remember, was this one, which could filter into our sort of new show type format. So that was for frightening flash fiction. So we could have multiple different ones where people send their flash fiction into us and we read it. So we could have a different one each week. We could have, you know, comedy flash fiction, romance flash fiction, erotica flash fiction, whatever. And we could have a little video for that. And we could do a little segment where we read somebody's piece of flash fiction that week. And again, just to make it a little bit more inclusive, get more people involved in the process of the show and the creation of the show. And yeah, sharing their writing, which is obviously what we're here for. Yeah,
I forgot completely about that video. I know there's a lot in there. So yeah, we talked about the panel show the other day. This is something I'd love to get back. It's a lot of hard work, but it's definitely worth bringing back, which is the panel show. And this is a panel show where I would host a show kind of like based on our version of Nevermind the Buzzcocks, and you'd get Chris Hooley as the team captain, the show captain, who would have two authors to be on his side defending the show, and you'd have an opposite team of three who would come in trying to beat Chris Hooley and his team through 5 rounds, and it would include impressions, writing challenges, quiz, Q&A sort of thing, and it was a lot of fun. It really was. So if that is something you're interested in and you'd love to bring a team on of 3 people to face Chris Hooley in the WCCS team, then let us know. And if it's got interest, and it certainly will because the shows were great, we'll try our best to bring that back this season as a special kind of show.
Yeah. I mean, we did talk about potentially doing one of those a month if possible, but they are, like you said, it's our sort of own version of Nevermind the Buzzcocks in terms of writing style, rounds, team quizzes, all that type of stuff. And yeah, they're really fun to be a part of, but also I should imagine, I've never watched them back, but it's one of those types of shows. I remember I spat my drink out at least twice filming those types of shows because they're normally hilarious.
Well, you could always bring one up on YouTube and screen share it, Chris, if you want to, and watch a clip. So possibly.
I also hate watching or hearing my own voice back. Especially when I'm saying, "Oh yes, it's really funny," and I've not prepped anything. So if I get a little scene and there's not something hilarious, make me look like a liar.
Hey, there was plenty of hilarity in those videos. Absinthe King says Keen, so there was a Keen member there that would bring a team on to have a go.
Yeah. Oh, the Anna dolphin.
Yeah. Yes, one of the best impressions we've ever seen, and the giraffe.
Yeah, giraffe as well. What else was there? There were some really good ones, but yeah, the Anna's dolphin was Anya's dolphins was brilliant. So that was a great one.
Was.
How do you even do an impression of a giraffe?
Well, that's why it was so brilliant. The impression that nobody understood until it was revealed.
Who did we have on those? So we definitely had Kristen Bailey twice. We had Will Carver on one of the panel shows.
Yeah, we had a Harrogate version.
Did we have a 3 Chris's one where I was Chris, I had Chris McDonald and another Chris?
Yeah.
I can't remember who the other Chris was. There was me, Chris McDonald, and was it Kristen Bailey on that show?
I think so.
Yeah. But yeah, they were great. And who else did we have? Oh, what's she called? Oh, Sophie. Oh, why has the name gone out of my head?
Cousins.
Sophie Cousins. Yes, Sophie Cousins. She was brilliant. Again, really funny. We had Liv Matthews on one of the panel shows. Again, she was brilliant and really funny. So yeah, lots of people saying, Linda's saying here, the Halloween shows were great too. Yes, we love doing the Halloween shows. And she said there, Hooli is Pennywise, which
the fancy dress, man. We really have toned it down.
Yeah, we definitely have. And Anya says
I would love to.
We need more Halloween shows and Christmas ones too. So yeah, definitely.
I'd love to pull up some of these videos and put them on the screen, but as soon as I do that, it will check off what's on TikTok, so I can't do that. So any of that's up to you, Chris, if you can. Absinthe King said a few drinks could calm the nerves. What could go wrong? Because he is interested in the panel show, and he says an ex-veterans team. And I said that's a great idea. So please email the Writing Community Chat Show at gmail.com, and we will get that set up. So you will be defending against people notoriously with dark humor and good wit.
Yes, that's a great shout, and I'm not intimidated at all by the idea of that.
Because I know
that was sarcasm. But yeah, I would have to put my own team together. I think what I would do with against a veterans team I would try and find the nicest people in crime writing and put up against them. So yeah.
Well, I disagree, because I think what you need to do is find comedy writers. Because
what I could do, veterans in the crime writing world, because I know at least 2 of them.
Well, there you go. Well, you need to. So
yeah, M.W. Craven. Remember him?
Well, what we could do is on that basis, do it for a particular kind of maybe even have a charity link. So it's all veteran comedy, veteran humor, great show, and then we put some money behind it for fundraising. Yeah,
I love that. That's a great idea. Yeah, let's do that. That can be our next mission for our next panel show. We'll do a veterans one. Although I do feel like, I mean, obviously I'm a co-host, but I'm not a veteran, so I feel like we're,
Well, maybe you should host it, and I'll be on the veterans team as a veteran myself.
Yeah, maybe we should. Yeah, let's do that, and that way I'll feel less of an imposter. you can be on the team. And we'll switch roles.
He said please explain about the nice writers against the veterans.
I was just hoping that, obviously you talked about that tough guy sort of, dark comedy, and I thought somebody in contrast to that as somebody who's just really like, timid and like wouldn't necessarily like, because you need a contrast, don't you, in humor?
I think if you've got a bunch of veterans with dark humor and can make up writing just out of purely chaos and humorous ways, then you've got comedy writers on the other side would be a great mix.
Yeah. Well, there is that too. But then I was thinking more along the lines of contrast of going, you know, if someone said something really dark and you had like the equivalent of like a timid grandma on the other side, then obviously the reaction would be part of the humor as well. Because if you have loads of people jumping in with really dark stuff, yeah, it could be hilarious, but equally we could get cancelled in the same process.
Well, yes, I think that's more the worry is the line where one might step over.
Yeah. And Linda says if Hooli loses, he has to do burpees, and that
the right person in the chat would literally, I think, a live stream, where you are getting beasted by the person that is asking. Has actually trained Gareth Thomas, the Welsh international rugby player, and made him do burpees. So we would happily make Chris Hooli do burpees.
Yeah, Chris Hooli's very happy that he's in the safety of his own home and not doing it live. Because I reckon I would do 1 or 2 burpees and then be sick. I mean, that's how inactive
I reckon if he's obviously on TikTok watching this, he could join this for a very terrible couple of minutes and chat to us. But I don't think it's a wise choice.
Yeah, like I say, being cancelled is a thing that can happen.
He said he did it for the BBC. It was a program with a lot, I think, youth people and fitness involved. Yeah, if you want to jump on a live on TikTok very shortly to explain what you would do to him if you won the panel show, then you're welcome to. He might not hear you.
Yeah, I mean, I can do some extremeness in terms of like cold plunges. That's probably my limit. I can do that. I can get in the ice and stuff, and I enjoy doing that. But no, anything where I have to physically exert my muscles, I'm like, nah. Like,
well, one thing that has been running through my mind is we're trying to find ways to raise money for our new business, which is a social enterprise. There's non-profit business that we're trying to build the show to give back to authors, create our own writing festival next year. Lots of great things, workshops for writers and mental health, all good things. How can we raise money? One thing that came up is what can Chris and Chris do in terms of punishment or dare that people will pay money for?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Linda because Linda's just said my idea, I think she's saying, of burpees is chugging soda. Yeah, I completely agree. That's something I can get on board with. For example, I've just eaten a pizza and I feel like I'm getting a bit of a stitch. So,
doing what? Talking?
Yeah, just generally moving after eating. Like it's no, I'm not. Yeah, I walk around a lot in the day, but walking at a casual pace is about my sort of level of activity.
Yeah, fair enough.
I feel like George R.R. Martin is a very successful writer. He's probably not the most active guy, so I feel like it's all right in our line of work.
Shaved. One comment that came in. Is that a dare to be shaved? Is that for Hooli?
Yeah, it probably was. I'm not allowed to shave anymore. Like I said, the kids went mental. So no more shaving for me.
What if it's a dare? Shaved heads. Beard with head's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I've done that plenty of times. I've shaved my head. I've done it bored for sometimes.
But what can people suggest? I mean, there's people watching, so I don't know. No Absinthe King. Mr. Hooli is sober for how many days now?
I'm not actually sure. It was
over a year. We've hit that milestone.
It's the 15th of April. So
yeah,
we've gone past the 15th of April and whatever we're in now. So
he won't be having a whiskey with us. He can definitely have. Actually, update reminded me. I said on live in the week that I was going to email Old Peculiar
Theakston.
About the Harrogate Crime Writers Festival.
Mm.
About us being sponsored, because we have our old beer sponsor here.
Mm.
And we said, wouldn't it be good if we had another beer sponsor that wasn't actually really frowned upon to take to Harrogate, which this one was. So we were giving these out in a goodie bag with some lollipops, and not to kids, to adults. And it was going down really well. But we got cornered by security and told to stop that instantly. So we actually went about it, and I emailed Theakston Old Peculiar this week to see if they would be up for a partnership in terms of, even though, you know, it's their festival, they're not really up for promotion. They've got it. But wouldn't it be nice if they made us a beer? We'd give it out there around the grounds with some giveaways and stuff, and they could make us a beer that I could design the label for, like I did last time. So who knows? That it's a little bit late in the year for that. It's 3 weeks away, so we'll see. But that is an email I sent off today. So let's have fingers crossed that we do get a response from that.
Even if they just give us some free beer to give out at Theakston's, you know, that's still better than nothing, because, you know, obviously I need to be careful what I'm saying here about Theakston's beer, but I didn't see that many people drinking Theakston's. So I feel like if you give us some, we could change that narrative.
But at the same time, this is why that conversation brought it up to me. On their website, when I was looking into sending it off to them, they have a new non-alcoholic Theakston beer, which would be great for you.
Yeah, it would. That'd be
not so great for me. So they could give us one of each. So you could represent the non-alcoholic person and the beers, and I could represent the alcoholic person and the alcoholic beers.
Yeah, and we could also keep a few of them, and you could drink them all day, and I'll drink the non-alcoholic ones all day, and then we'll film each other at the end and see what's going on.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, you'll be just playing hide and seek somewhere with Will Calder, just like
or like last time, shopping trolley races at like 4 a.m. This was because Richard Osman's latest book was to do with a holiday destination, and there was like a weird airport room which was set up inside the building with like a photo booth and all these things, luggage carts. And yes, we decided that we would have races outside, be very loud, and push people around in luggage trolleys, and race up and down the Old Swan Hotel, which is a very posh old building that should not be raced around in luggage trailers.
Good job you didn't get caught doing that, because you would definitely have been thrown out. And he says, would you eat a scorpion lollipop? And then
I have
says,
no idea what that is.
It's a lollipop with an actual scorpion in it. But yeah, then she said, bon appetit. And then Linda says, drink and then do tongue twisters.
Linda, I can't talk when I haven't had a drink, so it's not going to go down well.
Yeah, we could try that. Obviously, again, me on the non-alcoholic, you on the alcoholic, and see who can get them out.
Let's be honest, it's going to make me look like a terrible person, and you would be fine. But I'm talking about something that would make people pay us money to raise money for their business. So I'm thinking me and Huli jumping out of an aeroplane, or something crazy. Like, come on, I shaved a sheep for the show years ago for free. Now that's something to raise money. So
I'm glad you did that, though, because getting you to shave a sheep was one of those things I was like, oh, that'd be cool if you could do that, and then you did. So,
I did that, yeah.
Yeah,
it was really hard.
Yeah, it does.
Paige
challenge.
Paige said Chris Hooley is not jumping out of a plane.
One chip challenge is what Linda says. Now, I've seen enough people on TikTok do that to know that is a thing that people do, but no, thank you.
I've never heard of it.
It's like you get the spiciest, hottest chip, and you eat like it's just like a Dorito, but like ridiculously hot. Yeah, it's crazy.
I saw this crazy video the other day, and it was a Gordon Ramsay cultural cooking video. And this woman in India, she was trying to set the world record for eating the most chilies in, I think, a minute, and it was like 26 chilies or something. And she failed, and she was in tears, blah, blah, clearly upset and probably terrible insides. But the next part of this is what truly shocked me. And no, I will not do this for money. She tried to break the record for most chilies put in her eyes in 2 minutes. And she was just these broken chilies. She just started rubbing her eyes with them. So I was like, yes, no, that's not happening. But how crazy. What is this? Oh, we've detected inactivity on your live. I'm active. I fixed that, don't worry. He didn't. Right, Sarah said he didn't do too well last time I parachuted. Last time, ? Do tell from Absinthe King. Paige says Sarah would love to see. So do I need to tell this story of my parachuting incident?
Yeah. So Linda says my hubby was airborne. He'll give you some tips. And she also says, okay, it's blurry.
Yes, I am. It's this new camera I bought because mine died, and it's great, but for some reason it's got autofocus on it, which really annoys me. So I've got to I just got to stay blurry. So I'll tell the story of my parachuting. So when I was in the army, I was put on a course to go parachuting. I'm absolutely petrified of heights, but for some reason I thought, okay, parachuting's fine. So yeah, we went on this into this place and we learned how to pack the parachutes. Yes, they do actually make you pack them yourself, which I thought was really irresponsible. And then
I love the idea of you going, wait a minute, this is irresponsible.
Yeah,
I shouldn't be doing this.
Absolutely, which is basically the army in a nutshell. But then we got through practicing jumping off things and packing the chutes and stuff, a couple of days where it was cloudy, and then it finally cleared up. So it was time. The day was here. And then we walked out onto the airfield, and there was a plane sat there, which was an Islander plane, which is quite a small plane. And so I'm obviously a little nervous, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do this, but I'm nervous. And what they call is static jumps. So you jump out the plane, the parachute pulls, there's no sort of second person with you. You float down, you've got radio, they tell you when to, what they call is flare, which is you pull your brakes down and you slow down and you land. So I'm going to sneak on at the back. And then everyone loads on. And then I get on at the back and then realize the last person to get on is the first person sat by the door. So I'm now the first person who's going to jump out of this bastard thing. So as we're flying up, we're getting higher and higher. They're making you clap and do things to make sure your coordination's working. And I'm thinking, oh, I got to get out first. This is bad news. So they slide the door open and you're flying 13,000 feet or something like that. And we're flying across beautiful blue sky. You can see very, very far down this tiny little dot, which is where we're going to land. And so I shuffled to the end. He's like, come to the edge, come to the edge. He's like, shuffle to the end. My shins are hanging over. He's like, no, shuffle to the end, sit on the edge. So I'm like, okay. My bum goes to the edge. My legs are dangling off and flapping around. And we've done our training, so we kind of know what's going on. Autopilot kicks in. He's like, yeah, off you go. And I jump out. Fine. Cool. I'm floating down. And the most surreal thing happens. It goes from crazy noisy and fast to absolute silence. And the only thing you can feel is like a severe weight on your crotch, where you're being pulled up and pushed down with gravity, and all the pressure is right there. And that's the only thing you can kind of think of. So I'm spinning around, like moving around, thinking, okay, this is working, blah, blah. Go all the way down. And as I'm about to land, I realize I can't hear the people on the radio that are supposed to guide you in for the first jump. And I'm like, okay. So turn it up. Nothing. There's no response. I'm like, the radio's not working, on the wrong channel, whatever the case may be. So as I'm coming down, I'm watching. The floor's getting faster and faster. Lovely green field. I pull what is the brakes, the flare, pull the things down, and my parachute fills with air. And then at that point, you realize I'm still about 30, 40 feet off the ground. So my brakes are therefore done. And what happens after that is that the wind kind of carries me backwards a little bit. I speed up and get faster and faster. And then my feet hit the ground, my ass hits the ground, and then I hit my head to the point where I cracked my helmet open. And then I was in a bit of a mess. And the guys came over to check on me. I had to go for a scan. And they were like, "You're lucky not to be paralyzed." I was like, "Cool." So, yeah, that was my first and only parachute jump I did.
Wow. And you'd like, I've never done it, and I would never consider doing it after hearing that story. But you'd be willing to do it again.
Absolutely. The one thing I'm most disappointed about, and it's one of my biggest regrets, is that I was asked, "So, do you want to go back?" And I kind of went no, because I was like obviously in a bit of shock or whatever. And I kind of really wish I had and just overcome that kind of sense at the time and went back up and done it. And I didn't. So it's bugged at me for a long time.
Wow. See, I personally would take that as a sign that I was very lucky not to be paralyzed the first time, so I won't do it again.
But at the same time, the next time I could have done it, I could have easily gone through the process properly, been more experienced, and gone to the point where it's freediving instead of static lines. So this, I feel disappointed.
Apart from the moment where it all navigated to your crotch. I'm sure that
yeah, that's a very, very surreal feeling. And like the biggest thing I mentioned was the silence. So you're going up in a very loud, noisy aircraft where you can't hear people. They're doing hand signals. And as soon as you go out and the plane goes, there's no noise at all. It's very bizarre.
Yeah. I suppose that spatially as well, it's like there's nobody else in that space, which is like, obviously, if you're in your house, spatially, there might be someone another mile away, you know, if you live in a remote place. But when you're in the sky and you're falling, there's probably nobody in that proximity. So you're very much on your own.
Yeah. Absinthe King says, "We did it in Canada on my adventure training in the army. I bet that was a different experience. It certainly sobers you up very quickly." Yes, it does.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was my parachute experience. And yes, I would still love to do it for the show.
And Linda says, poor PLF. And it's poor little fella.
Easy now.
Well, that's what I just interpret and see what that is. It could mean something else, but
fat with PH.
Fat little fella, fat little friend.
Fat little other F. Yeah, I would like to know some realistic targets or fundraising things you could suggest for us, because I think it would be great content for the show. I've sheared a sheep. Chris Hooley has not done anything like that, so he definitely needs to get in the mix for something basic anyway. Not the actually, shearing a sheep was very, very hard and a lot of pressure, because they say if you do it wrong, you'll cut the skin a lot, and that kind of freaked me out. But that video is still on YouTube if you want to see that.
Yeah, that did look difficult, to be honest. Fair play.
It was kind of crazy because the Welsh sheep champions from the Royal Welsh Festival were doing the shearing in probably 2 minutes per sheep. And you notice in the video when I did mine, it was like a 10-minute video, and you could see them doing like loads, and they were stood in the background just kind of like waiting for me to finish. And I was still on the first one, which was getting a little bit tortured by myself. So it was very difficult. Hello, William.
Imagine sheep telling all of its friends, they're like, everybody else was just 2 minutes. I was in there for 10.
I know. Imagine the guys, they went to back to wherever they want. Oh yeah, some weird guy who was on a podcast show just turned up and took 20 minutes to shear a sheep today. Give them something to talk about.
I think I remember in the video actually a guy just sort of flinging sheep, like cheering him, bang, done, cheering him, bang, done. And you're just there like struggling with this thing. Just like, come on.
Paige says Chris could do a sponsored watch for ET to overcome his fear.
I could do that, but
that would just mean sitting in the woods doing nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Which again, I don't mind. It might be.
Or you could do a forest run where you've got to run through a forest and lots of people are dressed up like ET, and you've got to make it to the end.
Oh no, I'd kill someone. I reckon once that sort of adrenaline kicked in of me running for a long period of time, I think I would start to hallucinate and then be like, "Yeah, shovels."
No, she meant the viewing of the film.
Oh no, yeah, no, I'm not watching that. No chance. No way, Jose.
I love that. But yeah, I mean,
oh, so we were. This is what it means: parachute landing failing.
Oh, okay. Well, as her partner was, airborne. Yeah. Then clearly, this is probably a very silly story he would at, and fair enough, because airborne.
I still like poor little fella.
Yeah.
I just imagine a grandma eating some sandwiches, like watching the airfield, like watching the army jumping out of the planes and seeing, oh, that was good, wasn't it? Oh, that was good. Oh, poor little fella. When you jump out of yours.
Oh, he came down a bit hard, didn't he?
Oh, he hit his bum. He cracked his head, but he still got a boner. Brilliant.
Yeah. Absinthe King says, that's going to stick now. So in other words, he's going to call me poor little fella from now on. Thank you, Chris Hurley.
Brilliant.
Anyhow, I think we need to kind of wrap this up because we've got a lot of plans to get through.
Oh, that could be a feature in the show. We could have a poor little fella feature.
Oh, great.
Where we play a video and then we hear someone's poor little fella story for that week.
Oh, not just mine.
No, just like, oh, poor little fella. And we hear something bad that's happened to a bloke. That mental health awareness element, we could play it as a joke in terms of poor little fella, but actually serious sort of therapy element to it, like you've done tonight.
Sympathy corner with PLF.
Yeah.
I think we should perhaps split them, because what we have is a natural conversation between us that tends to go on forever and people enjoy. So we could have our interview show, which is stuck more to the traditional format, if that's what you want to go with, and open to suggestions from the audience. And then we separately have our lives like this, where we have those features in it and we work it out. But that's one thing we've got to think of. The second is the panel show we've got to think of. The third is the new intro we've got to figure out and sort out. So there's lots to get involved with, including the business side of it and stuff. So we've got to put our eggs into baskets that are manageable before anything else.
That's true.
Indeed.
Yeah, and Linda also says, you didn't die, so that's a good thing.
But did you die? No, I did not. Although
I didn't die. Well,
I might have.
If you would have, that would have been mass embarrassment for all.
Yeah, maybe I did die, and this is actual hell.
This is your punishment.
Yes,
jumping out of the plane and not packing your own bag. Like that must have been terrifying. I'm going to pack my own bag to jump out of it from 30,000 feet or 13,000 feet. It's
basically what the army is. You're a young man, you get thrown into the army, or you volunteer, whatever the case may be, and then you're like, you can have this rifle, you can drive these massive explosive trucks, you can do these crazy things. You're like, but I'm just like 20 years old. Like, yeah, you'd be fine. Okay,
Off you go.
that's kind of what it is.
Make sure you pull the catch now.
Yeah.
When it backfiring.
Yeah, it's like the safety brief. So like, not so much, civilian type sympathetic. It's like, make sure you pack it properly or you'll fall to the ground. So, okay. You learn quick.
And then they just wheel a poor little fella in. Like this guy.
Yeah.
He forgot to pack this. And now he's in a wheelchair.
Yeah, well, that would be the thing. Dark humor, as we said, goes a long way in the services, and I'll say services because I believe that translates all the way across the fire service, police, everybody who serves a job that has stress and high drama. You need that dark sense of humor to get you through the day often. So,
yeah. No, I mean, fair play. I do like the odd dark humor joke. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that serviceman show that we do. Even as the host, I think I'll definitely enjoy that. And I think as a host, I struggle though to keep it together. If it's as good as you suggested it could be, then yeah, I think me being focused will be the hardest thing.
Well, to be honest, it's the first time you would have done the panel show as a host.
It is. I reckon I could do it. I'll give it a go.
I think you could, and I think you should give it a go because what could go wrong?
Yeah, what could go wrong? And like you say, you'll be all right. Just give it a go.
Be fine.
And but Mike W. Craven, definitely somebody who is a veteran, and I'm sure he would love to come on.
Let me do a search for who comes up as veteran authors.
I think Craig Robertson was another veteran that we've had on the show before.
11 military veterans who write bestsellers. Oh, we have had a bold person on that wrote.
Yeah, that's Mike W. Craven. M.W.
No,
Craven.
Someone else. There's another one with a woman.
A bold woman.
No,
I mean, they can exist, obviously, but
yeah, G.I. Jane. Come on. No one I've known so far.
Go on, tell me the names.
Stephen Concloy.
No.
The Raid.
No.
Rick Campbell.
No.
No, I don't know these. Stephen Kuntz. Actually, someone the other day said to me that their husband is friends with the guy from SAS Who Dares Wins, Foxy. He is an author and he is a very popular veteran. So if we can get him on the show for the panel, would be amazing. Especially if it's for a charitable cause. Yeah.
But you remember, you need 2 authors to be on your team, and then you need 3 on the opposing team.
He is an author.
Yeah, no, I know, but I mean, I don't. Oh, right, yeah, no, that makes sense.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so I'll have a look. I'll have a look into that.
Yeah, definitely, and obviously,
George Orwell was a military veteran.
Yeah, I think you struggle to get him on, mate.
Yeah. It's like the guest we had tonight was supposed to be dead, but he was a different dead art that we had.
He was a different dead art, and yeah, obviously there's been millions and millions of people in the world, so you will eventually get somebody who's been famous who's dead. But Chris very nearly made the mistake of writing a profile for the dead Art Bell, and that would have been pretty funny.
Wouldn't it? What a great introduction that would have been. His face, it'd probably be our biggest kind of viewing interview because people would want to see what happened to his face when I introduced him as a dead person.
Yeah. So you're not the creator of Comedy Central. You're in fact, you've been dead for 100 years. You look great, by the way.
Your skin is fantastic for a dead person.
It's practically glowing. But yeah, I saw a really strange thing on TikTok the other day, actually, that not TikTok, X, that freaked me out. There is a country in the world that anyone who's watching now, if you know what this country is and the story that I'm referring to, but they dig the dead bodies of their ancestors up and they dress them up in party clothes one day a year, and they have a party with their dead bodies, and then they put them back.
I love that idea.
Oh, the pictures, mate. Honestly, it was really actually freaky because some of them were long dead and some of them were like relatively freshly dead.
Like swinging bones around and...
Yeah, but like the honestly, the images in terms of like, if you think the different rates in which skin decomposes, some of them had like a nice shiny sort of like still there transparent type skin, when some of them had like, oh, he's got a bit of a hole in his face now. Yeah, it did freak me out when I saw it. I was like, oh, I'm not sure
I
how I
suppose
feel
that
about
really kind of matters how you die as well.
Yeah, and you know, one of the images, this little girl, she was just like having a little tea party, and then she had like what was assuming like a great grandparents either side of her, dressed in clothes like this. Like, yeah, it's freaky. Never seen anything like it.
Not traumatic at all for that young child.
No, but I mean that I think that was the message, that you know, you don't, when you die, you're not necessarily forgotten. And
But isn't that perception? Because it would only be traumatic and scary to someone who doesn't find that normal.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, like if that's all you know for your whole life, and it was like Christmas, so to speak, it's like, oh, they died, but we're going to dress them up, and you'll see them again soon. They'll be wearing that nice thing. Yeah, but again, if you're watching and you don't, maybe you saw it, just tell me like what country it was or where it was in the world, because I'm not making it up.
Got sort of elements of the Day of the Dead, and I think that's Spain, isn't it? It's not the saying that that's what that is, but like, isn't Day of the Dead? Oh, Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico, I think is Day of the Dead, but it was like that, but on steroids. It was like, you know, if they just paint their face and like, yeah, we're gonna have a good time. It was just like so much worse.
Absinthe King said Scotland. The problem with Scotland is that it's so cold they wouldn't decompose ever. So they'd just be like fresh bodies. Yeah.
Oh my god. You can't dig him back up.
Yeah. That kilt is solid.
Oh god.
I'm gonna get so much hate abuse from Scottish people now.
Yeah, quite especially if I drop this line. So yeah.
Hey, some weird bug people.
Yeah. I'm hoping that is, well, I'm not hoping that's a reference to Scotland, but maybe Linda's gone away and researched the people who do actually do this type of thing. And maybe they are
bug people.
Maybe. Or maybe it is just a reference to Scottish people. But yeah, we'll see.
I don't think they are. But you know, I like Scottish people. Just put that out there. Almost as awkward as when Art Bell talked about women on our show earlier.
Yeah, I mean, I get what he was saying. He just he talked himself into a bit of a corner, and then he did manage to navigate out of it.
Yeah,
he was basically saying, in a nutshell, that you can't write women in fiction like the people who wrote fiction 70 years ago wrote women in fiction.
Yeah, basically referring to the 50s, that, you know, it's so different in terms of its writing that it's hard to write a timepiece in that sort of sense.
But the way he phrased it made him sound like he was saying you can't write women in fiction, and then he kind of was like, oh yeah.
But he was also like, well done to women, you know, for getting through what
well I love women, all women. Oh, but not too much. Like, what do? I love my wife. Wife, I love you.
My wife.
Yeah, I don't love all women, just to be sure.
Yeah, he backpedaled quite dramatically.
I love my mum, maybe, but that's complicated.
Well,
that's what he said.
Yeah, I know, but that sounds bad. Yes, it was a great interview, worth watching, not just for that comment. But there you go. Yeah. Right, Chris, I'm just going to put this out there. I think we need to wrap this up an hour and a half in. And after we've done an hour on the show for an interview, so it's 2.5 hours of live streaming just for you guys. I think I need to go for a wee and finish.
Yeah, I think you're probably about
That's information for all of you people. I'm sure you'll appreciate it.
Stay safe, poor little fella.
If I could punch through a screen, I would. No, but honestly, just to wrap this up, things we need to kind of address. If you have any ideas for a direction of the introduction, bear in mind Jason Anthony has voiced the introduction to our show, and he is the voice of characters in Call of Duty, in Hogwarts Lego, all these things. He's a brilliant voice actor. So if you have ways to sort of compete with that introduction, even though the other video style may be preferable, we're open to ideas and suggestions. If you're a creative person and you want to send us examples in, or want to donate us one you've made, and we can put that on our website, say you created this, get in touch with them for some work, you can do some.
There you go.
Please do so. Ignore that comment from Chris Hooley. Yeah, please do that. Fair play. Also, if you want to be on the panel show, send an email to the writingcommunitychatshow@gmail.com. Please, we beg you, go onto our YouTube channel right now, watch the Amazon KDP advert that we did. We are now sponsored for the next 3 months by Amazon KDP, which is brilliant. So if you can go and watch that video, hit the like button, leave a comment, that would do us wonders. And if you want to read about the entire thing and about last year's winner, JD Kirk, and all those good things, you can do that on our Substack. And that's kind of it. So, yeah, go and watch our YouTube video, go to the Substack, read the article, share this live around everywhere, hit the like buttons. I know he is. I can see. He's like a little child. And all those good things. That would do the world for us. So thank you so much.
Oh, yeah. All the things he said. Listen to the poor little fella.
That's the song. Okay. Have you finished, Chris Hooley?
Not for a long time. Bye, everyone.
No, you can sit there and be awkward for a while. I think everyone needs to watch you and give you some abuse.
Oh, I love it. I'm trying to end the show for 2 days.
Don't do it, man.